Welcome to Life Words Day by Day, where we are discussing some realities of the resurrection in 1 Corinthians chapter 15. And one of the realities that Paul lists for us is that the gospel, and namely the resurrection, is verifiable. And he gives two sources to which we can go to in order to verify. He gives us scripture, and he also gives us eyewitness testimony. So this is not some fairy tale, because fairy tales don't hold us up. This is not some legend or part of the mythological stories that teach valor, citizenship, and morals. This story of Jesus Christ really happened, is really verifiable, has the marks of the supernatural on it, and since it is so, it really has the power to do what it says it can do. So Paul lays out the case. The death of Christ, which no one disputes, happened according to scriptures. Paul doesn't cite one specific scripture, but we could easily go to Genesis 3:15, Isaiah 53, or Leviticus 16 and see where an atoning sacrifice was going to have to be made on behalf of the people of God. Paul then says that Jesus was buried and raised on the third day according to scriptures. Now, one of the facts Paul is establishing here is that when he talks about resurrection, he is speaking of a physical resurrection and not a spiritual resurrection alone. Paul means that a 3-day physically dead Jesus became a physically alive Jesus. We're not talking about that Jesus lives on in us merely through his teachings or through his goodness, but his body came out of the grave. That's what Paul is arguing for. He is establishing the fact of a physical bodily resurrection. And he is arguing for the reality that Jesus is still alive today. The verb that is used here is a passive verb, has been raised from the dead, which indicates that he never saw death again. Lazarus in the New Testament was raised from the dead, but he died again. Jesus was raised from the dead and is still raised, no more to die because he defeated death. He put it on the mat for the count. He knocked out the power of death. Thus, he is still alive. And then Paul adds in eyewitness testimony that verifies the physical resurrection of Christ. Are you having trouble believing that Jesus really rose from the dead? Well, here's a list of hundreds of people. Go ask them. That's what Paul would say. Can you imagine how long the court proceedings would have been? Prosecutor Paul, how many more witnesses do you have to bring to the witness stand? Sir, Your Honor, only about 450 more. Why is the resurrection important? Because it holds our lives together. It is historically verifiable. It is an objective reality. When you pray today, please remember Sarah Philemon, our missionary in Romania. And also remember the Bocolano Sorsogon Life Word broadcast that's heard in the Philippines.